Okay, today what we're going to do is we're going to use the change of base. Basically what we're doing is we're taking a look at the bases of each exponent, and then what we're going to do is we're going to find a base that all three or two exponents will be changed into. So here's what we're going to do. There are 5 steps that we're going to go over. And those 5 steps are, we're going to write the exponent with the same base, and where the numbers are usually between 2 and 10. Now notice we got 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10. That is the basic bases that we're using for this unit, mostly. Then we're going to use power of a power to simplify our stuff once we've done that. Okay? So first of all, let's go and take a look at this first problem, and then we'll go through the rest of this. So now we have an 8 to the 10 times 16 to the negative 3 and 32 to the negative 2. I can tell you right away that I'm going to use base 2 to replace 8. Now because I've decided to use base 2 to replace 8, that means I got to find powers of 2 for 16 and 32. So let's go and do that right away. So now we're going to end up with, well, 8 becomes 2 cubed, and we're going to leave the 10 outside as a bracket, and then we're going to multiply in bracket 2 to the 4, because 2 to the 4 is 16, so we just replaced that, and we bring our negative 3 down. And then we're going to times that by, well, 2 to the 5, and we're also going to take that and make sure it goes into a bracket, right? It is important to use brackets here. It's very important to use brackets when we do our substitution. That's why I wrote in blue that we have to, anytime we do a replacement of any bases, we have to put them in brackets. Now because of that, the next thing we have to do is we have to use power of a power to combine each of the numbers that we see as exponents. But it would be nice to make sure that we actually have the right exponent here. Before I used to have a -2, but I put a 5 here, so we're going to make sure that's corrected. Okay, so just give me a moment while I reset the size of my pen to the -2. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw the rest of this thing. So, well, we've got 3, we've got these two and these two and these two we have to combine using power of a power. So now what we've got is, well, the first one is going to be 3 times 10, which is 30. Times 2 to the, well, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then we're going to times that by 2 times, well, negative 10. So now all we have to do is we're going to use the exponent rules. We're using the multiplication or division rules for powers here. So because these are all times, we have to add all of these exponents. And when we add all those exponents, we end up with 2, keep the base 2, raised to the power of 8. Now 2 to the 8 is just 256. And we are done. Now, let's go and take a look at the next problem that we have on our chart. And that's all we got to do. We got to basically take a look. We find a term, use the power of a power, multiply, divide, and then basically deal with any negative or positive exponents if possible. Now, let's move on to question number 2. B, actually. So now, remember the numbers that we're going to use. We're using 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10 as our base numbers. So let's go and do that. So when we're doing this problem, I can easily see that 9 can be written as 3 squared. So we're going to use that as our hint. So we're going to change 9 to 3 squared, and we're going to put our raised to the exponent 9 on the outside. And we're going to divide by, well, we try to find what power of 3 gives 2,187. When you do some calculations, you just keep trying. Well, 3 to the 2, 3 to the 4, 3 to the 5. You find out that 3 to the 7 is 2,187, and then we raise that to the power of 3. So now we have to use power of a power rule to combine the two sets of exponents. So we get 3 to the 18 divided by 3 to the 21. Now, simplifying, you notice we have a division sign. Division means subtract the exponents. So now we have 3 to the negative 3. And because we have 3 to the negative 3, all we have to do is we're going to get rid of that negative exponent. To get rid of the negative exponent, we can write this as, well, we'll change our 3 to 3 over 1, and then we just flip it. 1 over 3 raised to the 3, and that really means 1 cubed over 3 cubed, which ends up being equal to, well, 1 cubed is 1 over 3 cubed is 27. And that is our final answer. Now, let's take a look at the next problem we have here. We have 125 to the 6 and 25 times 25 to the negative 5 and 625 to the negative 2. A big hint, anything that ends in a 5 might end up being a base 5. And in this case, we found that 125 is 5 cubed. And then that's raised to the 6 times 25 is really 5 squared raised to the negative 5 divided by, well, 625 is really 5 to the 4 raised to the negative 2. And so now all we have to do is simplify the top. Anytime we have something like this, we simplify by bringing our powers of a powers together, and then we'll get on to the next thing. So now we have 5 to the 18, because 6 times 3 is 18, times 5 to the negative 10, divided by 5 to the negative 8, because negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So now what we're going to do is we need to simplify the top. The bottom is simplified already. Simplify the top, and then we'll start doing our combinations using division. So simplifying the top. Basically, we're just adding the two exponents, so we get 5 to the 8. Yeah, it's got to be 8. 5 to the 8 over 5 to the negative 8, which ends up being 5 to the, well, division means subtract these two exponents. So we get 5 to the 8 minus negative 8, which ends up being 5 to the 16. And we can just leave it like that, because if you punch that in your calculator, you'll find you'll have a massive number. The key to these problems is when you get to the end, that's when you use your calculator to exponentiate. Before then, your job is to simplify as much as you can and then use your calculator for your final answer. Because you need to be able to show all of these steps in order to get all of the marks on my tests. Let's go to the last problem. So we have 87, 81, 27. Remember, the numbers that we're going to use for this are 1, 3, wait, can't do that. It's 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and sometimes 10. So, if I look at these problems, the only numbers that can be used for 27 and 81 in this group is going to be the number 3. So we find that 81 can be replaced by 3 to the 4. and we still leave our exponent on the outside. And then we're going to times that by 3 to the 3 raised to the power of 1/3. Now, when we do this, we take 4, notice we're taking 4 times 5 divided by 2, so 4 times 5 over 2. When we multiply those two out, we're going to get this, 3 to the 10. And then we do the same for this. We take 3 times 1 over 3, and you get, well, times 3 to the 1. And all we do now is we just add all the exponents. So because we have multiplication, we add those two numbers. So now we've got, well, 3 to the 11. So now you're just going to punch that in your calculator and you get 177,147. Okay? Now, your homework for today is the change of base homework sheet that is attached to this assignment. Most likely it's going to be on the back of the page. If not, it'll be on the website or on a separate page that your teacher gives you.